Okay, this is my second video of the wildfire damages in Jasper town site, and this is what's left of the Jasper United Church. But what I wanted to talk about for this video is really more of the positives. From the assessment of the damages afterwards, there were certainly some positives, and often the media does not focus on the positives or make it a point of actually mentioning those. So if I just turn around, one thing that I'll talk about is the role of the firefighters during the major event of July 22nd, 23rd in protecting some of the critical infrastructure in Jasper town site. So I'm just going to walk closer to the fire hall, and what you'll see are a series of vehicles and trailers, one of which is called, I'll zoom in here, the Structural Protection Unit, and that's really firefighter speak for a specialized unit that tries to protect critical infrastructure, or basically any structures that they feel they have a fighting chance of protecting during the middle of a fire. So these are mobile units that were deployed throughout Jasper during the wildfire when it was safe enough to stay, and they set up basically a perimeter, or set up a defense of certain buildings. So obviously they're trying to protect their own fire hall as their mobilization station. But right across the street there's a medical clinic that was saved. There is a hospital in the background, Seton Jasper Healthcare Center, and beyond you actually are multiple schools, elementary schools, junior high schools, the wastewater treatment plant for Jasper, and other critical infrastructure that was defended by the firefighters. So, here we have 1/3 of the town in the background, mostly residential, where the structures were not able to be saved or protected, but then an area of town right next door where some critical infrastructure was saved. We actually met a volunteer firefighter yesterday, standing in front of the fire hall. Spoke to him briefly just about the firefighting role during the actual event and what he witnessed. And he basically said, unlike most wildfires that seem to move in from another location on the ground, he said the fire came from above. So it was basically leaping from the forested areas to the south and west of Jasper, and was of such a height at the top of the forest that it was almost like a cloud of fire that then traveled over the Jasper town site and came down on top of the town site. So even though there's not necessarily forest close by, this town was still vulnerable to the forest fire. But a lot, again, ending on a positive note here, a lot of critical infrastructure was saved, and in the midst of it's actually the largest wildfire in the last 100 years in Jasper. 32,000 hectares of forest was burnt, and just conditions that you wouldn't expect any structures to be saved. Off in the background here, the majority of the commercial area of downtown Jasper was relatively untouched. There were a few buildings that had damage, and I think there was one hotel that burnt, but the majority of the commercial lifeblood of Jasper really was left unharmed.